I want you to pause everything and really feel this. What if the strange things about you, the things you've been hiding, doubting, suppressing, are exactly the signs that you were chosen? Not metaphorically, not hypothetically, but literally chosen by forces beyond this world to carry something sacred into this lifetime. I didn't always believe this. I questioned everything. I thought my sensitivity was weakness, my inner visions were fantasy, my solitude was a flaw. But the deeper I went into the ancient teachings, the more I listened to the whispers between the moments, the more I realized there are signs, undeniable, powerful signs, that certain souls aren't just here to live, they're here to transform reality. And if you're watching this, it's probably not by accident. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet knowing that you're different, that your path is heavier, more intense, more meaningful. You're not crazy. You're not imagining things. You're waking up to something that's been encoded in you since the beginning of time. The first sign you're a chosen one with celestial powers is that you've always felt out of place, not just socially, but cosmically. You walk into a room and feel like you don't fully belong, even if people like you. Sometimes, even when you're surrounded by friends or family, there's a deep part of you that feels like it's watching everything from a distance. Like your soul is from somewhere else. And that's not a glitch. That's a signal. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about being on a different frequency. The chosen ones are often seeded from other dimensions, other lifetimes, other realms. And when they reincarnate here, the density of this world feels foreign. You feel the pain of the world more deeply. You see through lies more easily. You don't quite fit the mold society gives you, and that's because you weren't made for it. You were designed to rebuild it. So I ask you, what if your discomfort is actually your compass? The second sign is that you experience intense spiritual initiations through pain. Your life hasn't been easy, and I don't just mean external circumstances. I'm talking about the inner battles. The kind that make you question your worth, your sanity, your purpose. Maybe you've faced trauma that doesn't make logical sense for someone your age or background to carry. Maybe you've had near-death experiences or dreams so vivid they feel more real than waking life. This is not random. It's spiritual training. The celestial protectors do not choose the convenient. They choose the courageous. And your pain, it's not punishment. It's preparation. When your soul agreed to carry light into dark places, it also agreed to be forged in fire. So every breakdown you've had, every night you've cried alone, every moment you thought you were lost, those were initiations. Not to destroy you, but to strip away everything that isn't your true power. The third sign is that you are a magnet for energy, both light and dark. You walk into a room and people turn. Some are drawn to you instantly, others are triggered by you for no reason. You may have noticed that strangers open up to you, or that animals and children are unusually comfortable around you. At the same time, you may attract negative energy, envy, or even psychic attacks. Why? Because your aura is luminous, even if you don't see it yet. You're not just a person, you're a frequency. And that frequency shakes things loose. Chosen ones often carry dormant codes, ancient wisdom embedded in their soul. And those codes activate something in others, sometimes inspiration, sometimes fear. You are not here to be neutral. You are here to be catalytic. But to wield that power responsibly, you must learn energetic boundaries. You must learn how to protect your field, ground your energy, and transmute what is in yours. Ask yourself, am I absorbing energy or am I out? The fourth sign is that you receive guidance from beyond the veil, even if you've never told anyone. Maybe it comes as dreams, synchronicities, inner voices, or sudden knowings. Maybe you see repeating numbers, or feel chills when truth is spoken, or sense when someone is lying without evidence. These are not coincidences. They are communications. Celestial forces don't always appear in dramatic visions. They often whisper through the mundane. Numbers, animals, symbols, sudden thoughts that don't feel like your own. The chosen ones are never truly alone, but few know how to listen. Guidance comes when we stop doubting our intuition and start trusting our inner resonance. So here's a deep question for you. How many messages have you received and dismissed because they didn't come the way you expected? The fifth sign is that you're drawn to ancient wisdom and forgotten truths. You've always felt a pull toward the mystical, the esoteric, the hidden. Maybe you've studied astrology, sacred geometry, plant medicine, energy healing, ancient texts without knowing why. It's like the knowledge remembers you. This is a soul memory. The chosen ones are often old souls carrying fragments of past lives where they walked as healers, sages, or even warriors of light. That pull you feel toward ancient temples, lost civilizations, or symbols you've never studied but somehow understand, that's your soul reawakening. You're not just curious, you're recalling. And your recall is the beginning of your reactivation. If you've ever felt like you were born too late or too soon, it's because your soul is older than time. What if your curiosity is actually your cosmic assignment calling you home? The sixth sign is that you're a natural disruptor of systems. You don't just question authority, you feel when something is wrong, even if you can't explain it. You've struggled to conform to traditional education, religion, politics, or even the 9-to-5 structure. Not because you're lazy or rebellious, but because your soul rejects limitations that don't align with truth. Chosen ones are often born into families, cultures, or belief systems that clash with their essence. And instead of becoming victims, they become visionaries. You may have felt guilt for not fitting in, or shame for questioning everything. But I'm here to tell you, your rebellion is sacred. Your resistance is not dysfunction, it's divine discomfort with illusion. You're not here to follow the script, you're here to rewrite it. And the first step is to stop apologizing for being different. The seventh and perhaps most powerful sign is this. You feel an unshakable pull toward your purpose, even when you can't name it. It's like a quiet storm inside you. No matter how lost you feel, no matter how many times you fall, something keeps pulling you forward. A vision, a dream, a knowing that you're meant for more, not in a selfish way, but in a sacred way. You may not know what your purpose is yet, but you feel it in your bones. That's not ego. That's your soul blueprint activating. The chosen ones don't always have clarity from the start, but they have compulsion, a magnetic draw toward becoming more, healing more, sharing more. And if you felt that pull, don't ignore it. It's the call of your destiny. The world needs what only you can give, not when you're perfect, but when you're ready to be real. You've just heard the 7 signs. But here's the truth. These signs are not just traits. They are invitations. Invitations to remember who you are beneath the programming, beneath the pain. But knowing is not enough. The next step is activation. Recognition is only the first phase. The next is embodiment. How do you live as a chosen one? How do you awaken and wield your celestial powers in a grounded, powerful, real-world way? Because having potential is not the same as becoming the force you were born to be. Awakening the force within. How to activate your celestial powers in the real world. Now that you've recognized the signs, the real journey begins, not in some faraway realm, but here, in the ordinary moments of your daily life. Awakening your celestial powers doesn't mean escaping the human experience. It means rooting divinity into it. And that's the paradox most people don't understand. Your power isn't activated by running from your struggles, it's activated by meeting them with consciousness. Chosen ones are not shielded from chaos. In fact, they are often placed in the very center of it, because chaos is where creation begins. So if you've been asking, why is my life so hard? It's not because you're cursed. It's because your soul is being tempered, like steel in fire. And the first step of activation is acceptance. Not passive surrender, but conscious alignment. You accept where you are and then you choose to rise from it, not with resentment, but with purpose. To activate your celestial power, you must first master your inner world. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy are your first battleground. Before you change the world, you must change your inner resonance. Everything begins there. If your mind is filled with fear, doubt, and shame, your power will remain dormant. Not because it's gone, but because it's tangled in distortion. Start by observing your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. Don't attach, don't judge, just witness. This practice alone, what ancient sages called pure awareness, begins to clear the static. Next, listen to your emotions. Don't suppress them. Emotions are messengers. Rage, grief, love, joy, they all carry codes. When you listen to them with presence instead of reacting or suppressing, they begin to reveal your true self. The more you do this, the more your energy field stabilizes. And when your energy becomes still, your true power begins to rise. Another essential activation key is ritual. Not the kind you perform out of duty, but the kind that transforms your state of being. Ritual is how you turn the mundane into sacred. It's how you remind your body and spirit that you are not just surviving, you are becoming. Whether it's lighting a candle in the morning as you speak your intention, doing breath work under the moon, meditating in silence for just 10 minutes a day, or even blessing your food with awareness, these small acts are not meaningless. They are portals. Portals that open you to remembrance. Consistency is more powerful than complexity. You don't need a temple. You are the temple. You don't need ancient artifacts. You are the artifact. When you meet yourself with reverence, your energy begins to shift. And when your energy shifts, reality bends to meet you. But none of this works unless you ground it. Celestial power is not just about ascension, it's about integration. You must bring your light into your relationships, your work, your decisions, your voice. Power is not floating in the clouds. Power is speaking your truth in a room full of silence. It's saying no when your soul says no. It's choosing alignment over approval. This is where most chosen ones fall into the trap of spiritual avoidance. They want to escape the world, not transform it. But your mission is not to leave. It's to embody the divine here. That means being uncomfortable. That means confronting your own ego. That means forgiving people who will never apologize. That means showing up again and again, even when no one sees you. Especially when no one sees you. Because that's when your power becomes real. Another key to activation is service. Not in the martyr sense, but in the energetic sense. Your power is not just for you, it's for the collective. When you use your gifts, your voice, your presence to uplift others, not by fixing them, but by reminding them who they are, you open a circuit, a divine feedback loop. The more you give from alignment, the more you receive from source. This isn't about becoming a healer, a coach, a leader, unless that's your path. It's about being a lighthouse. Even if you never say a word, your calm becomes medicine. Your joy becomes a tuning fork. Your authenticity gives others permission to be real. And that's the kind of power that ripples through timelines. So ask yourself, where are you still hoarding your light, waiting for permission to share it? But let's get honest. There will be resistance. There will be moments you fall back into fear. You'll question yourself. You'll wonder if you're delusional. You'll want to give up. That's part of the path. Every chosen one faces what I call the shadow gate. It's the moment where the old version of you tries to pull you back into safety. You'll hear voices from your past. You'll feel the weight of your trauma. You'll be tempted to shrink. But this is the exact moment your power is being tested, not by the universe, but by you. Will you choose safety or truth? Will you choose comfort or calling? This is the moment where power is either buried or born. And when you walk through the shadow gate, not by fighting it, but by facing it with presence, you emerge as something new. Not just awakened, activated. Finally, remember this: your celestial power is not a destination. It's a way of being. It's not about what you can do. It's about who you are when nothing is left but your essence. You are not here to impress. You are here to embody truth so deeply that even your silence speaks volumes. This is the era of the embodied chosen ones. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more waiting for signs. You are the sign. You are the miracle someone else is praying for. So stop looking for proof. Be the proof. Walk into rooms like you carry galaxies in your chest, because you do. Speak like your words echo through dimensions, because they do. Live like your presence shifts timelines, because it is. You are not becoming powerful. You've always been powerful. Now is the time to remember. The celestial blueprint, how the universe designed you to change reality itself. There is a reason you've always felt different, like you were born with a specific frequency that doesn't quite match the world around you. That feeling isn't a flaw, it's part of your original design. You weren't created to blend in. You were encoded with a celestial blueprint, a living energy map written into your soul before you ever took your first breath. This blueprint is not just a metaphor, it's real. It lives in your intuition, your dreams, your recurring life patterns. And when activated, it doesn't just change your life, it begins to reshape the lives of those around you. The universe didn't randomly bring you here. It placed you intentionally, precisely, and everything you've experienced, every heartbreak, every failure, every breakthrough has been a code unlocking that blueprint, one layer at a time. Your celestial blueprint is built on purpose, not preference. That's why your life hasn't followed a straight line. You may have tried to follow the traditional path, to build a normal life, to do what was expected, but something always pulled you back. That's not because you're unstable or indecisive. It's because your soul rejects anything that doesn't align with its original agreement. You carry within you ancient codes, truths that are meant to be remembered and reactivated in this lifetime. And those codes are not accessed through logic. They are accessed through alignment. When you begin to live in harmony with your truth, your energy synchronizes with your divine blueprint. You begin to meet the right people, enter the right places, receive the right messages, not because you're lucky, but because you're in resonance. The universe cannot support who you pretend to be. It can only support who you truly are. One of the clearest signs that your celestial blueprint is activating is the feeling that time is no longer linear for you. You might have déjà vu, prophetic dreams, or moments where reality seems to bend around your thoughts. This is not your imagination, it's your design. Chosen ones are often given access to higher dimensions of awareness. You begin to sense things before they happen. You speak truths you didn't know you knew. You feel emotions that don't belong to you because you're tuned into the collective field. This is what happens when your soul begins to operate beyond the third dimension. But here's the key. This awareness is not for entertainment. It's for responsibility. When you realize your thoughts, words, and intentions shape reality, you can no longer afford to live unconsciously. You must become deliberate, because chosen ones don't just react to the world, they recalibrate it. To fully activate your celestial design, you must confront the one force that threatens to shut it down: self-doubt. Doubt is the virus that infects your blueprint. It rewrites your code in fear. And the most dangerous part? It sounds like your own voice. That inner critic that says, "You're not ready. Who do you think you are? Why would anyone listen to you?" That's not your truth. That's programming. And every time you believe it, you shut down a piece of your power. The truth is, you were never meant to feel ready. You were meant to feel called. And the calling won't wait for your confidence. It only waits for your yes. So the next time doubt shows up, don't argue with it. Just say, "I hear you, but I choose truth." And then move, speak, create, serve. Because your blueprint activates through motion, not perfection. There's a sacred principle at the heart of your design that most people never learn. Your gifts are not random, they are requirements. If you're a powerful speaker, it's because your voice is meant to liberate others. If you're deeply intuitive, it's because you're meant to navigate unseen realms. If you're sensitive to energy, it's because you're here to transmute what others cannot. Your gifts are your tools, and your pain is your map. Together, they form your path. But these gifts only come alive when you stop hiding them. The universe doesn't give you celestial power to keep it private. You are a walking transmission, a living frequency. You don't need a stage, a platform, or a title. You just need to be who you are, fully, unapologetically, and consistently. The blueprint doesn't activate when you're pretending. It activates when you're embodying. And let's go even deeper. Your blueprint is not just about your personal purpose. It's about your position in the collective awakening. We are in a time where the old systems are collapsing. Truth is rising. Shadows are surfacing. And in the midst of this chaos, the chosen ones are being activated like stars in the night sky. You are one of them. You're not alone. There are thousands, millions like you waking up, remembering, reclaiming their power. And your role is not to save the world. It's to stand in your light so fully that it gives others permission to do the same. That's how reality shifts, not through force, but through frequency. You are not here to compete. You are here to resonate. And when you do, your energy becomes a doorway through which others can walk into their own remembrance. So I leave you with this. You are not broken. You are encoded. You are not behind. You are preparing. Everything you've been through has been part of your celestial training. The losses, the isolation, the strange synchronicities, the moments of magic followed by deep grief, it was all part of the design. You are not here by accident. You were placed here, assigned, marked by the divine. And now, the only question that matters is, will you answer the call of your own soul, even if no one else understands it? Because the moment you say yes, not to a guru, not to a system, but to yourself, the blueprint comes alive. And when it does, you won't just change your life. You'll change reality itself. I want you to pause everything and ask yourself this one question. What if the very things that made you feel different your whole life were never flaws, but clues? Clues that you were never meant to live an ordinary life. That you're not here just to survive or fit in, or follow the script. You're here to awaken something ancient inside you, to remember, to reclaim, to reason. You see, the chosen ones don't come into the world with loud fanfare. They come quietly, often in silence, often in pain, but always with purpose. And if you're watching this, I need you to know, you didn't find this message by accident. You were led here, and deep down, you know that. You've always known. I used to think I was broken, that my sensitivity was a weakness, that my resistance to shallow things made me difficult. But as I began to listen not to the noise of the world but to the subtle whispers of my soul, I realized that nothing about me was random. The way I saw through masks, the way I felt energies most people couldn't, the way I was drawn to the stars, the symbols, the unseen, these weren't quirks, they were signs. And not everyone will see them. Not everyone is ready to, but you are. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Being chosen doesn't mean being better. It means being burdened with responsibility. It means carrying light into places where no one else dares to go. It means walking through darkness not because you deserve to suffer, but because your soul volunteered to bring healing, starting with yourself. Sometimes that healing begins in the fire, through betrayal, through loss, through loneliness so deep it echoes. That's the refining process. Because only when you've been stripped of everything false can you finally remember who you really are, who you've always been. One of the most undeniable signs you're a chosen one is that you see through illusions. You can sense when someone is lying, sometimes even before they speak. You feel when a place is heavy, when a conversation is fake, when a smile hides sorrow. You don't just read energy, you absorb it. And that's why you often feel tired in crowds, drained in chaos, overwhelmed by noise. But I want you to reframe this. You're not weak. You're open. You're tuned in. Your soul is calibrated to a different frequency, one that demands discernment, not defense. So protect your energy, not with walls, but with wisdom. Have you ever had moments where time felt strange? Where you dreamed something before it happened? Where you felt like you'd lived a moment before? That's not your imagination. That's your soul remembering. You see, chosen ones operate beyond linear time. You're not just living this life, you're carrying codes from others, from other timelines, other dimensions. That's why you're drawn to ancient cultures, symbols you've never studied but somehow understand, languages your tongue doesn't speak but your heart does. You're not learning, you're remembering. And with every remembrance, your blueprint activates. Now I want to ask you something deeply personal. How many times have you silenced your truth to be accepted? How many times have you dimmed your light because it made others uncomfortable? That instinct to shrink, to hide, to blend in, that's not humility. That's programming, and it's time to break it. Because the world doesn't need more well-behaved souls. It needs awakened ones, realons. Whoa. And here's the truth. The moment you stop apologizing for who you are, the moment you fully embody your essence, you become unstoppable. Not because you're perfect, but because you're aligned. We are in a time of global awakening, and that's not a cliché. It's a cosmic event. The systems are cracking, the illusions are crumbling, and into that space, the chosen ones are rising. Quietly, powerfully, authentically. You don't need a stage to be impactful. You don't need to be famous to be divine. Your energy speaks louder than words. Your presence heals more than sermons, but only when you stop withholding it. So I ask you, where in your life are you still waiting for permission to be who you truly are? And what would happen if you gave yourself that permission today? The more you awaken, the more resistance you'll face. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something real. The matrix resists truth. The ego resists growth. But here's the key. Resistance is not your enemy. It's your test. Every time you're triggered, that's an invitation to choose differently. Every time you doubt yourself, that's your old self clinging to survival. But you weren't born to survive, you were born to transcend. And transcendence doesn't mean escaping your humanity. It means bringing your divinity into your humanity, fully, fiercely, freely. There's a reason you've always felt the urge to help others, even when you were hurting. That's not a flaw. That's your essence. Chosen ones carry the medicine they most need. And often, your greatest wound is the key to your greatest gift. The trauma you survived, that's your training ground. The grief you carry, that's your gateway to compassion. The shame you've buried, that's the soil your power will grow from. The universe doesn't waste pain. It recycles it into purpose, but only if you're brave enough to stop running and start listening. And now I want to go deeper, beyond the signs, beyond the symptoms, into the reason. Why do chosen ones exist? Why are we being awakened now? Because the world is at a tipping point. And your energy, your truth, your frequency, your soul is part of the recalibration. You're not here to save the world. You're here to shift it, not by force, but by field. Your presence is a tuning fork. And when you stand in your full authenticity, you create a ripple that awakens others, not by preaching, but by being. So let me ask you, are you living in a way that invites others to remember who they are? If you've made it this far, it's not by chance. It's because something in your soul is stirring. Something ensays. Something sacred. You don't need to see angels to be divine. You don't need to levitate to be powerful. You just need to remember. Remember that you are not your title. Not your trauma, not your past. You are a living, breathing expression of the cosmos. You are the bridge between heaven and earth. You are the embodiment of frequency, encoded with light. And every time you choose truth over fear, love over shame, presence over distraction, you activate another layer of that truth. This is the new era, the age of the embodied chosen one. And your role is not small. You are not late. You are not unworthy. You are exactly where your soul needs to be. The signs were never outside you. They were you all along. So now I leave you with one final question. If you truly believed you were chosen, how would you live today?